What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of a brand new season of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. We are in season 9, episode 1. Welcome to the party, pal. Let's get into Jasmine and Gino. Y'all, I cannot believe that Jasmine is still in her 30s. I feel like we've been watching her on television for like the past 10 years, and this woman is still in her 30s. So we find out that Gino kicked her out, so she ran to her lover, Matt, expeditiously, who is also the father of her daughter. Now, in this episode, we did not get to see the baby, but they did show us a flashback scene of the tell all when she walked on the tell all stage with her pregnant belly, and when everybody in the cast found out for the first time that Jasmine was pregnant. So, Jasmine says that she still loves Gino and she still wants to work things out in their marriage with Gino, but in the meantime, she is getting her back completely blown out by Matt. We then see Gino. Gino is on social media. I guess he's responding to his DMs because he met some girl online. She's basically Jasmine 2.0. Her name is Natalie, but she looks exactly like Jasmine. So that shows that Gino still, well, he definitely has a type. We know that he has a type. He loves South American women, Latino women. That's his thing. I don't know what nationality Natalie is, but she looks a lot like Jasmine. So he flies to Las Vegas because Natalie lives in Las Vegas. He flies to Las Vegas to meet up with Natalie. So I don't know how many times Natalie told Gino how she's attracted to bald men. She only dates bald men. All of her exes were bald men. I guess she really wants him to be comfortable with his baldness, but Gino will never be comfortable with his baldness. No matter how many times people tell him how much better he looks without his hats, that there's nothing wrong with his bald head, no matter how many times people try to reassure him, it's just something within him that he's just not comfortable with. Natalie has been divorced twice. She talks about how she's attracted to Gino's nerdiness, and she says that because he's so nerdy, it makes her feel safe. You better be careful with that. People think that, well, if I date someone who's not that attractive or who's really nerdy or who, doesn't have those conventional good looks, I'll never have to worry about them cheating on me or running out on me. That is not the case. If you want that nerdiness, trust and believe somebody else wants that nerdiness too. Natalie doesn't know. Let me just say this. So when Gino arrives in Las Vegas, they go out drinking. They have a really good time. They go drinking. They go to this place where I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's like you walk into this place and everything is ice. It's like everything is frozen. You're sitting on blocks of ice, just blocks of ice everywhere. You're drinking from ice sculptures. So they go to one of those things and they had a really good time, Natalie and Gino. So while they're having a really good time, Gino mentions to us, the audience, that Natalie has no idea that he's in an open marriage with Jasmine. The only thing that he told Natalie was that he kicked Jasmine out. Natalie doesn't know that they're very much still married, but they're just experimenting with this whole open marriage thing. So while they're talking, having a good time, it seems like that there's a mutual attraction between them because there's a scene where they're sitting next to each other on this ice sculpture thing or this whatever, this block of ice, and they're looking at each other. And Natalie's like, if you want to kiss me, go ahead. And so then they kiss, right? Of course, it's very awkward because Gino himself is extremely awkward. It wasn't smooth at all, but they do kiss. And Gino was like, hey, you kissed really good. This is the best kiss I've ever had in a long time. So it seems like there's a mutual attraction, but I feel like Natalie is I don't know. I'm not going to say it. It's too soon to tell, but hopefully her intentions are genuine. That's all I can say about Natalie. So when they were kissing, after they kissed, she talks about, she was looking at him and she's like, oh my God, you're so cute. And she's like pulling his hat down. And then I realized for the first time that Gino is wearing a hat on top of a hat. He has on the hat with the floppy ears. I don't know what that's called, but underneath that, he's got on his baseball cap. And it's like, okay, Gino, we know that you are uncomfortable with your baldness, but two hats at the same time is a little bit unnecessary. So Gino's talking about how he's having a really great time with Natalie. They're laughing, they're kissing. And like I said, the attraction seems neutral. They seem to have like a really, really good time with each other on their very first date out. Now, back to Jasmine and Matt, where it's all doom and gloom. So Jasmine is constantly downplaying her relationship with Matt. She keeps talking about how this is her friend and they're just really good friends. And now that she's living with him because Gino locked her out, she's like, he's also my roommate, but we're just friends. But y'all are sleeping together and you also have a child together. So now you're family. And truth be told, this is your boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know why Jasmine is trying to make it seem like this is completely like a business transaction. I have needs, he satisfies those needs, and that's it. So why did you have a kid with him? If this was purely a business transaction where he was just, fulfilling a certain need or providing a certain service for you, Jasmine, why didn't you try to protect yourself from getting pregnant? You know how this works. You have two kids, so you know how babies are made. You know what's going on with your body. Why in the world wouldn't you take precautions if this is just simply a business transaction and your end goal is to get back with Gino? Because Jasmine has told us that if she can be sexually satisfied, then she'll, be happier with Gino, and that can fix all of their problems. So she's completely downplaying her relationship with Matt. Jasmine says that Gino kicked her out because she had violated one of the open marriage rules that they had. So when we were watching The Last Resort, when Gino finally got manipulated and strong armed and bamboozled into accepting this open marriage, he had certain guidelines that he wanted Matt and Jasmine to follow. One of them being that they could only spend 2 hours together. Well, whenever Jasmine would go work out with Matt, because Matt was her so-called trainer because they met at the gym, um, Gino just assumed that, well, I don't think they're exercising this whole entire time. I think that they're together. They're spending time with each other, which is violating the 2 hour rule because Jasmine would be gone, damn near all day, working out. So he felt like she was violating the 2 hour rule, so he kicked her out. And that's all she talked about as far as the rules that she violated. She didn't mention anything about violating the safe sex rule. She didn't talk about that at all because I also was one of the rules that Gino had laid out that they had to practice safe sex. And they didn't do that. She got pregnant. That the proof that they didn't do that. So I'm not sure why Jasmine didn't talk about that rule. Because if he was going to lock her out, I would think that her getting pregnant might be the one thing that would make him want to change the locks, not so much that she was spending extra time with Matt. Anywho, but that's what she says. That's the story that she tells us. So Jasmine and Matt, they're having a conversation. And Jasmine is telling Matt how Gino changed the locks, and Matt was like, "Oh, so you went over there to go see him?" And she's like, "Well, I just went over there to get some of my stuff, but the locks were changed." And so she starts crying about Gino and talking about how much she loves Gino and, just boohooing about Gino, 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 Gino. And Matt is probably looking at her and he's probably thinking to himself, how the hell did I get myself into this? This was supposed to be just fun, light play. Nothing too heavy, nothing too serious. I'm just providing this woman a service. And it doesn't hurt that she's also, pretty good looking. Now you got a baby out of this. You got this woman who's crying all the time, talking about her husband, like the man died. And I'm like trying to figure out, I'm looking at Matt trying to figure out, Matt, like, what were you thinking? Did you know what you're getting yourself into? Did you have any idea what you're getting yourself into? Moving along this theme of broken marriages, let's talk about Guillermo and Kara. Now they've been married for 3 years. They have one child together. Kara works as a realtor, and Guillermo is just going wherever the wind blows him. So she says that Guillermo had a really good job, but then he quit the job. Then now he's working in a restaurant. Now he wants to be a pilot. And she tells Guillermo that, you have a lot of dreams, which is great, but you have very little follow through. And he got offended by that. He was like, "What do you mean I don't have follow through?" And she says, "Well, you wanted to start a lawn care business, and I invested all this money into your lawn care business, and you got the truck and you got the equipment, and you didn't mow one single lawn. You didn't cut one single blade of grass. So, like, you have these dreams and these plans and these aspirations, but you don't follow through with them all the way." And so we find out that they've been having some very serious marital issues. If you want to believe what they're telling us, that they've been having some very serious marital issues. I guess it's coming from the fact that maybe because Kara is the primary breadwinner, Guillermo can't seem to like get his footing on what he wants to do as a career, and maybe that's affecting their marriage. Um, we see that they are sleeping in separate rooms. This began when they had a really big fight one day, and Guillermo quit talking to her for 3 days. That to me is like the ultimate what is the word, psychological warfare that you can do on your spouse or someone that you live with. Y'all are living in the same home, but you're refusing to talk to your wife. That's like the ultimate psychological warfare. I can't stand people who do that. I can't stand that. That is like to me so, it's so horrible. It's so abusive, emotionally and psychologically abusive to your partner, to live with them and then just to ignore them and not speak to them. It's just, that's just mind blowing to me. So they had this huge fight. He quit talking to her for 3 days. They started sleeping in separate rooms, and it's still that way. And when Kara is crying in her confessionals, it's like I feel like it's real. I feel like she's really hurt, or she's just a really good actress like Jasmine. I don't know, but it feels like these people are really going through it, and it's really really sad because they're a cute couple. So I don't know what's going on there, but they're having some very serious issues. Moving on to Darcy and Georgie. Now I never watched the spinoff that Darcy was on with her sister. I forgot what it was called. Darcy and Stacy, something or other. I didn't watch any of that. So to me, the first time that I ever saw Georgie was when Stacy and her husband were on the last resort, and Darcy showed up with her husband um, to figure some stuff out. That was the first time that I ever saw Georgie. So I don't know anything about Darcy and Georgie's history, how they met, how the relationship progressed. I know nothing of that. So, what I want to know is when Georgie and Darcy met and when he proposed to her, did she look the way she looks now? That's what I really want to know. What was she looking like when he proposed to her? Because everybody talks about Darcy and Stacy and all of this plastic surgery that they had done. Y'all, I am so distracted by Darcy's lips and her whole entire, I can't even keep up with what the hell they're talking about or what's going on with them because I'm so distracted by Darcy's face. When we see them, they're celebrating her 50th birthday. They're at a carnival and he's got all this stuff planned. Whatever, they're celebrating her 50th birthday. They talk about going to Bulgaria. They're planning a trip to Bulgaria for Darcy to meet his family. It seems like she's meeting his family for the very first time, even though they've been married for a few years, like 4 or 5 years. And this is the first time that she's meeting his family. So they're talking about that. And he's telling her happy birthday, telling her that she's, halfway to being 100 years old. And she says, I'm aging like fine wine. No, ma'am, Darcy, you're not aging like fine wine, sweetheart. You're aging like spam because you are so chock full of preservatives. You have been stretched and pulled, I feel like, to the limit. But I know that you're not done yet with all the work that you got go. Girl, you're not aging like fine wine. You're aging like a can of spam. And what's so sad and disheartening is how beautiful Darcy and Stacy were before they got all this work done. And I feel like Darcy has gotten more work than Stacy. Or maybe Darcy's doctor is not as good as Stacy's doctor. Anywho, so they're talking about their trip to Bulgaria. And Georgie's telling Darcy, when you meet my family, I need you to tone it down with, the boobs spilling out and all of this sexiness, this overt sexiness. I need you to kind of tone it down a little bit. And Darcy took offense to that. And she was like, hey, I'm 50 years old. I've been around the block. I know how to act. I know how to present myself. But then in her confessional, she's like, I don't know why he would tell me that. I don't know if he's told his family everything about me. I feel like he's hiding something from me. Girl, whether he's told his family everything about you or not, you still have to be presentable and respectful when you meet his damn family. It doesn't matter how much or how little they know of you. It doesn't matter what he has said or has not said about you. You need to still be presentable and respectful when you go meet his family. Okay, you can't be up there with your boobs spilling out of everything, your stomach showing, girl. But you know what? It doesn't even really matter. She can show up butt naked. They would be very distracted by her face. They wouldn't even notice that she's walked into the room butt naked. Moving on to Jovi and Yara. I'm so sick and tired of Jovi and Yara. They bring nothing to the table except mutual emotional abuse. Okay, that's all they bring to the table. Because y'all, sometimes I feel uncomfortable watching how Yara treats Jovi and how condescending she is to him and how she's like damn near verbally abusive to him. And then I'm sick and tired of Jovi feeling like it's nothing wrong with him wanting to, spend hours and hours and all this money in strip clubs while he's got a wife and a child. Anywho, so they touch a little bit upon the fact that that Jovi wants to have another baby. Yara, instead of saying, oh yes, it would be so wonderful to expand our family and give our daughter a sibling, instead of being like that, she instead says, yeah, we do need another kid because I'm sick and tired of playing Barbies with Miley. She needs somebody else to do that with her. I'm tired of playing. And I know she was joking, y'all. I get that she was joking, but still, it's like, damn, Yara. She's like, yeah, we need so someone else can, play Barbies with her because I'm sick and tired of playing Barbies with her. They've moved to Miami, Florida, where Yara has always wanted to live because she was sick and tired of New Orleans. Yara says that she is starting a luxury business, which is dog accessories. And then Jovi tells her, you want to start a business selling luxury dog accessories, but you don't even own a damn dog. Jovi is still whining about being away from his mommy and them not having that extra help with their one kid. Moving on, Libby and Andrei. So when we first see Libby and Andrei, they're sitting in their little confessional, and the first thing that Libby says to Andrei is, "Oh, you're so cute, y'all." Let me tell you something about Libby and Andrei. What I've seen throughout the years about Libby and Andrei. It always seems like to me, Libby is sort of like a pick me with her own husband. Like she's constantly trying to prove to him that she's trying to always prove to him that, hey, I'm worthy of you. I'm a good choice for you. Um, I'm good enough for you. It always seems like that to me, even though they're married. It's like she's still like trying to prove to him that he made a good choice in choosing her as a wife because she's constantly showering compliments and he doesn't do the same for her. I noticed this the most when they're on Pillow Talk. She's always complimenting him, talking about how sexy he is, how good looking he is. And he doesn't say the same thing to her. He never returns the compliments or he never gives her compliments. I want to say at all, but really he doesn't give her compliments the same way that she compliments him. So as soon as we see them in their confessional, she's looking at him, she's like, "You're so cute," and he just says nothing. He just doesn't say anything. I need Libby to understand, girl. You've got the man. You got him. Y'all are married. Y'all have two kids together. You have Andrei. You don't have to constantly try to prove to him that you're attractive enough, you're good enough to be his wife. Anyways, let's move on. I'm probably not making any kind of sense to y'all. So they're talking about this move to Moldova, which they've been talking about, I feel like, forever. Every time we see Libby and Andrei, there's always this discussion about moving to Moldova. Her sisters are always going crazy whenever they bring up moving to Moldova. They're like, no, you can't take our niece and nephews away from us. It's like, I'm tired of it. Either move to Moldova or stay in Florida or leave this alone. Please. We're sick and tired of hearing about this impending move to Moldova. So we're talking about this move to Moldova. Libby's talking about how she's having second thoughts as if she was ever really in agreement to move there to begin with. Libby does not want to move to no damn Moldova. But I'm pretty sure that, first of all, let me just preface this. I don't believe that they are seriously considering moving to Moldova. I think it's just a storyline. Okay, it's just a storyline because they've got nothing else going on. They no longer talk with her family. So the fights between Andrei and his brother-in-law or Andrei and his sister, that's mute. Not mute. That's moot. It's a moot point now because they have nothing to do with her family. So that cannot be a storyline for them anymore. And I feel like I said, I think that, Libby's sort of like a pick me with her own husband. So their marital issues are not going to be that serious because she'll do whatever Andrei wants her to do. So all they have is this fake storyline about moving to Moldova, which I don't think that they are serious about doing. So Libby's talking about how she's having second thoughts about moving to Moldova because she doesn't know if she's going to have all of her American amenities that she's used to, like a washer, dryer, and air conditioning, and this and that. So she's like, well, I don't know about this whole move to Moldova, but we can definitely go there to check it out, and then I'll make my decision afterward. So yeah, they're planning a trip to Moldova, but before that, they're going to be going to visit Lauren and Alexei because here we are. Lauren and Alexei, they have moved out of their condo into a house and they're having a housewarming party and they're inviting the 90 Day cast members that live in Florida. So they've invited Yara and Jovi, and they've also invited Libby and Andrei to their housewarming party. Okay, fine. So everybody shows up to this housewarming party. Libby's in the kitchen talking to Lauren and Yara, and she's telling them about how she's going to be moving to Moldova, which is weird that she would say that because she hasn't made up her mind that she wants to really move there. But she kind of starts off by saying that, hey, we're going to be moving to Moldova. And so the first thing that Yara says is like, why the F would you want to move to Moldova? Because Yara's from Eastern Europe, and so she knows what those countries are like. And so to her, this doesn't make any sense at all why anybody would want to choose to live in Moldova. So Lauren, she sees this move as a way for Andrei to exert his control over Libby, and that she's talking about how Andrei is not taking Libby's feelings into consideration, that he's being very, stubborn about this and very bullying about this whole move to Moldova. And I'm just like, Lauren, shut up. Just leave this alone. This has got nothing to do with you. Leave this. Do not bring this up in front of the group that you are not in agreement with them moving to Moldova because it's got nothing to do with you. Nobody cares how you feel about Libby and Andrei moving to Moldova. Please don't bring this up in a group setting. Andrei, he's talking to the men. He's talking to Alexei and Jovi, and he's talking about the move to Moldova. And he says to them that I'm going to make her move to Moldova, whether she likes it or not. In fact, I'm going to give her an ultimatum. So, of course, Alexei and Jovi are like, what? Huh? That's not cool. Everyone sits down for dinner. Of course, the move to Moldova comes up. So everyone's challenging Andrei on this decision. And Andrei says that he wants to move there because he can work from home, whatever company he's working for now, whatever he's doing now, which I thought he was working for his father-in-law, that him and his father-in-law were in business together, were in real estate together. And I don't know how you work from home unless he's like doing loans or something. I thought he was like going to the properties and renovating things and fixing things. The last time that I saw Andrei, that's what he was doing. He was like helping his father-in-law renovate these homes, I guess, so they can flip them. But I don't know what he's doing now that's going to enable him to be able to work from home in Moldova. But whatever. So he says he can work from home. And he also says that the cost of living in Moldova is a whole lot cheaper. So Andrei said that they're not, he says, well, I'm not, he tells the people at the dinner table, well, I'm not making Libby move to Moldova. And then Alexei pipes in and says, you literally said that you were forcing her to move to Moldova. In fact, you even said that you're going to give her an ultimatum. And this is the first that Libby has ever heard of this ultimatum. So Libby's like, what? What do you mean an ultimatum? So now we're off to the races. Libby says then that they should have this conversation in private. But Lauren completely ignored Libby or didn't hear Libby because she wants to go toe to toe with Andrei about how this decision to move to Moldova is a bad decision. And that if Libby's not happy, if Mama Bear is not happy, then nobody's going to be happy. And then Andrei is like, don't come to me with this Mama Bear BS. Don't come to, I don't want to hear this Mama Bear stuff. So then Lauren and Andrei are like in a full throttle argument. Okay, full throttle argument. They're going back and forth. They're screaming and yelling at each other. Lauren has this crazy friend, I think her name is Naga or Noga. She steps in because she has already kind of had like a brief encounter with Andrei that didn't go very well. So she steps in and she's telling Lauren that, hey, this man is just trying to instigate you. He's just trying to push your buttons. And so she's screaming and yelling at Andrei. Andrei is like arguing with Lauren, arguing with Lauren's friend. And whatever they were dishing out to Andrei, Andrei was giving it right back to them because Andrei loves to argue. He lives to argue. He lives for confrontation. He don't give a damn if you're a man, woman, or child. He is going to argue with you. He doesn't care. So, the friend calls Andrei a prick and she cusses him out. Andrei gives it right back to the friend, cusses her out, calls her a B and everything else. And so while this whole argument was taking place, Alexei, Lauren's husband, says and does nothing at all. He's just sitting there like looking back and forth between Andrei and his wife Lauren, like he's at a damn tennis match. And I'm like, when is he gonna step in to kind of diffuse the situation? But Lauren said nothing. But Alexei said absolutely nothing. So they're going, Lauren and Andrei and the friend, they're all like involved in this, three-way argument. The friend gets up and she walks away and she's calling Andrei every name in the book. And then she also has the nerve to be like, and here you are cussing women out. You're cussing women out. But then you cussed at him first. You called him a prick and something else. You cussed him out first. And then she turns to Libby and she's like, and this is the man that you're married to? Or she says something like this. This is the man that you're trying to help. I don't know what she said, but she was basically like calling Libby out for choosing a man like this. Little do you know, sweetheart, Libby is used to this. Libby is used to this. This is her life because at least Lauren and Naga have nothing to do with Libby. They're not related to her or anything. Andrei was acting like this with her family, with her brother, her sisters. He was going toe to toe with them just like this, with her own family, to the point now where she doesn't even talk to her family because of him. So this is her everyday life, Miss Naga, Lauren. Y'all should know. And another thing is, Lauren, you've watched this show. I'm pretty sure you've watched this show. You've seen the development of Libby and Andrei's relationship. Why would you want to involve yourself in an argument with Andrei? Like, he's a very argumentative, stubborn person. Like, why would you even want to jump into the ring with him, knowing that he does not back off? He doesn't back off. He doesn't step down. He doesn't care who you are. He probably argues like this with his own damn parents. He doesn't care. But anywho, that's what it is. That's my review. Thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.